Well, here's something different. Didn't see this angle coming. Disgraced former New York Love Gov Andrew Cuomo, a Democrat. He may actually be the voice of reason here. He tweeted, quote, DOJ must immediately explain the reason for its raid, and it must be more than a search for inconsequential archives, or it will be viewed as a political tactic and undermine any future credible investigation of January 6th investigations. So what is about to unfold? Let's meet tonight's party panel. We've got Versus Media podcast host and the Spectator USA contributing editor Stephen L. Miller. Yes, I say. We've got the host of the Richard Fowler Show. He's also a Fox News contributor. Look at that handsome smile. It is Richard Fowler. And she is an author and contributor at The Hill. Kristin Tate joins us once again. So, Stephen, hey, I will start with you. How does the current president wangle out of targeting the former president? And could it be anything but that?
Well, first, I think there's at least a 40% chance they might have found hooker heads at Mar-a-Lago. I just want to get that out of their inboxes.
I'm glad you went on record with that.
For anybody, I was thinking about for anyone who is just looking at this in the optics of it. I might be the only person on the entirety of cable news who's not pretending to be a lawyer. I look at this through the lens of media, and I look at this through the lens of everyday voters and optics. And we're 2 to 3 months away from a midterm election where Joe Biden's party is most likely going to seek control of the House of Representatives and lose committee controls. That includes the January 6th committee, which will go poof on January 21st. So you have 3 months out from an election, this unprecedented raid, which it is, regardless of if you agree with it. And you have an attorney general who was prevented from sitting on the Supreme Court by the former president that he most likely okayed a warrant on. And if you don't like those optics, you can blame Joe Biden for making Merrick Garland the attorney general when there were other choices that would have looked less political here. These are all problems with this. And, of all the roads, like you said, you don't want to go down. This certainly looks like the road of roads you want to go down. And if I'm Hunter Biden, I'm probably lawyering her up, and I'm hoping the DOJ in the year 2025 isn't asking who the big guy is. And, we'll throw in Hillary Clinton just for the lulls. That's kind of where this is headed.
Well, is it where it should be headed, though, Richard? Is this how we should settle political grudges, whether it's the Clintons, the Bidens, or the Trumps?
I'm not sure this is a political grudge. I do think where I agree with former Governor Cuomo is we need more information about this. But there's a couple of things we already know. We know, number one, the National Archives was already asking for the current former president of the United States to turn over documents that he took. If Donald Trump wanted to keep these documents, he could have declassified them. But he chose not to declassify them and take them anyway from the White House and from the office of the president. That's number one. Number two, the idea that there's some sort of conspiracy that Merrick Garland is out to get the president. There's a federal judge, another federal judge, who signed off on this probable cause warrant that agrees with him. To me, seems to be a little bit of a stretch. Not only do you have the head of the FBI, who was appointed by Donald Trump, but you have an AG that's a former federal judge, and you have a sitting federal judge who approved this probable cause warrant. This is how the justice system works.
This is how the justice system works against people it has political grudges with. And the magistrate who signed off on this, very problematic history with Jeffrey Epstein alone. Your thoughts here, Kristin, because
Donald Trump has a problematic history with Jeffrey Epstein.
Hey, I don't disagree with you. I think there's a lot about Donald Trump to not like, but this is not how justice works in this country. And if they're doing it just for the optics, Richard, that puts the country in a very, very bad place. Kristin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Democrats have seized full control of the bureaucracy, and they're using that bureaucracy as a weapon to take down their enemies. That's what's going on here. On a political level, though, I think that liberals love that this raid has people talking about something other than inflation, the open southern border, or the out-of-control crime. I mean, everything is worse in Joe Biden's America, everything. And that's why the Democrats, ahead of these midterms, they want to make the whole conversation about the threat Donald Trump poses roses to democracy on January 6th, because they know if it becomes about the issues, they are doomed. And I also agree with Thomas Massey that this raid is going to rally Trump's base around him. It actually makes it a lot more likely that Trump will be the GOP nominee in 2024. And I think Democrats would love that. They would love to run against Trump because, once again, it lets them whip up their base into hysterics over Trump while avoiding the issues. They certainly don't want to run against Ron DeSantis. I'll tell you that, because he could beat any Democrat.
If they're trying to politically wound the former president, you know, Ron DeSantis is in the wings going, hey, man, I'm the only other person whose name is being bandied about, who's in double digits in every straw poll. But, you know, we've seen this time and again. If you're going to take a shot at the king, don't miss.